It's the dictionary. It's the dictionary. It's the dictionary. It's the dictionary. Dictionary. It's the dictionary. It's the dictionary.
Hello, word nerds. Welcome to the dictionary. Oh, it's another episode of the dictionary. It's another one of the best episodes hosted by me, BB Butters. I'm taking over the world podcast by podcast. All right, let's start with the first word in this episode, which is we're still in the section. Spencer told me, he said, BB Butters, you will happen to be in the section where it's a G word, but the second letter is an N. And that means you don't say the G sound at all. You don't say gneiss. The first entry here is nice. Oh, why can't everybody just be nice? How hard is that? It's not very hard at all. Okay, we got the word nice. And how do you spell it? How do you think it's spelled? Well, you're probably wrong. It is spelled Gneiss. Nice. Noun from 1757, all those years ago. It is a foliated metamorphic rock corresponding in composition to a feldspathic plutonic rock. An example of that rock would be granite. Let's see, what else? We got gneissic. Gneissic is an adjective. Gneissoid is also an adjective. And gneissos is also an adjective. So if you're describing something to have the characteristics of gneiss, maybe it's foliated, it's metamorphic, it's corresponding in composition to a granite. If you're describing something in any of those ways, then you could use the words gneissic, gneissoid, or gneissos. Any of those are perfectly fine. Yes, wonderful. This word is from the Middle High German word neisty or neist, which means spark. Spark. And also Old High German neisto, akin to the Old English frignast, which also means spark. And so it's something about spark. Well, maybe it has something to do with maybe the magma. There was sparks and fires and flames and magma and lava shooting all over the place. And then you get nice from that. Isn't that nice? All right, do I have to make a sound effect today? Oh, I don't know. I shall just go blue, blue, blue. The next entry, here we go. It's GNMA, all caps, abbreviation for Government National Mortgage Association. We don't need mortgages. There's no reason for any of us to be in debt. It's a completely ridiculous system, and I think it's got to go away. I think we got to get rid of the GNMA because really we shouldn't really have any money anyway. Let's get rid of all of the money systems, especially the ones with the mortgage, because you're in debt to the bank and you're paying interest, and then you end up paying like 30 million times more than the place is worth. It's just so stupid. Blah, 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 blah. Oh, here's a good next word. It's the word gnocchi. Oh, yeah, gnocchi. You could say gnocchi, gnocchi. Some people say gnocchi. I'm surprised that there isn't a version of the pronunciation that starts with a G, because people look at this word and they say, I don't know how to pronounce that word. And then they is it gnocchi? That's probably how some people want to say this word, gnocchi. It is spelled Gnocchi. It is a noun from 1891. You have to say gnocchi. Gnocchi. Sounds like it would be a good name for a pet, I think. That would be a good pet name. If you name your pet gnocchi, can the middle name be BB Butters? BB? Okay, what is a gnocchi? It is dumplings, usually made with potato or semolina and served with a sauce. Oh, you can't serve it without a sauce. That's not a gnocchi anymore. You might still have dumplings, but you need the sauce. Most foods, I think, need some sort of sauce. I love a sauce, and I love to dip. All right, where does this word come from? It comes from the Italian. It's the plural of gnocco or gnoccio, maybe just gnocco. From the Italian dialect, the Veneto dialect, probably of Germanic origin, akin to the Middle High German Knochel, which means knuckle, or Knoch. I don't know how to pronounce these Middle High German words. That means bone. So knuckle and bone. There's more at the word knuckle, but why knuckle and bone? What's the connection there? Do we have to do a quick little internet search? What do we look up? Why does gnocchi, we got to spell it with a G and not a K. Why does gnocchi, some people are writing, why does gnocchi taste like Play-Doh? Does it taste like Play-Doh? I think if you put a sauce on it, it's not going to taste like Play-Doh. Why does gnocchi come from the word for knuckle or bone? Knuckle or bone. Does it look like a knuckle? Does it look like a bone? Was it made from bones? Knuckle as in a knot in the wood, because it describes the dumpling's shape. Is it the shape of a knot in the wood? The name references the small, light, rounded, and slightly gnarled shape of the dough, which resembles animal knuckle bones. Well, that's different than the knuckle and not in the wood. But it did mention gnarled, and we just learned about gnarled recently, I think. Yeah, I didn't record that one, but somebody else sure did. What else? We got the Italian word stems from the Lombardic term noja, which means knuckle, knot or joint. Yeah, so that's pretty much what it is. And they say that they look like a knuckle. Do they look like the knuckle? I mean, I don't know. Maybe a little finger bone, maybe. I don't know. I should go for some gnocchi right now. Why isn't anybody serving me gnocchi? Give me some gnocchi. I don't remember what the sound effect was that I made. Okay, now we have the word. Oh, it's another good one. To me, at least. Maybe not to you. I don't know how you feel about this. It's the word gnome. It's the first form of gnome. It is a noun from 1577. The synonyms are, now this is very interesting, not something that I'm familiar with at all. The synonyms are maxim and aphorism. So I guess you got to go to those words to learn more about what the hell could gnome be. But this word comes from the Greek gnome or nomi, which is also from gignoskin, which means to know. Like, oh, I know who took my peanut butter. It was the sneaky little gnome. You know gnomes are always taking peanut butter. No, so you know a thing. I can't remember what maxim or aphorism are. But you could also use the word gnome. Where else could you use the word gnome? Maybe it's for this next one. It's the second form of gnome. This one is a noun from 1661. Number 1, an ageless and often deformed dwarf. An often deformed dwarf, that's fun to say, of folklore who lives in the earth and usually guards treasure. If you want to find some treasure, you might come across a gnome who is guarding the treasure, and you could say, wow, look at you. You look like you are a deformed dwarf. And I'm sure the gnome would say, you are correct. That's a very nice thing to say. No, the gnome would get very angry, I think, if you said that to them. They live in the earth, and they have the treasure, and they're ageless. How can they be ageless? How you say, how old are you, gnome? And they say, I'm ageless because I have no age, and I will live beyond you, assuming you are not ageless. Some of us sometimes feel like we're ageless. We're getting so old, not as old as the gnomes. What else do we got for gnome? We got number 2. An elemental being in the theory of Paracelsus that inhabits Earth. An elemental being, the theory of Paracelsus. What is the theory of Paracelsus? Never heard of that before because I wasn't studying things all the livelong day. Let's see. Theory. We're typing it in, but we can't find the letters. Theory of Paracelsus. Here, we got it right over here. Paracelsus lived from 1493 to 1541, and they were a Swiss physician and alchemist who revolutionized medicine by shifting the focus from ancient theories of bodily humors to chemistry, empirical observation, and toxicology. He is most famous for originating the foundational toxicological principle, and I quote, "The dose makes the poison." What does that even mean? And what does this have anything to do with gnomes? This is probably not the same kind of gnome who is the ageless, deformed dwarf. But there's something. It was one of the, what did they say? One of the elemental beings. But it's interesting because it seems like Paracelsus was basically going away from those old ideas into the new scientific ideas to make things a little bit better. Let's see. Paracelsus introduced gnomes as fundamental earth elements. Unlike traditional folklore monsters, his theory categorized gnomes as rational, immortal souled spirits of nature that represented the elements of earth, allowing them to traverse solid rock as easily as humans move through air. Well, that's pretty cool for the gnomes. I'm very happy for them that they get to traverse through solid rock just like we can traverse through air, which basically takes no effort whatsoever. All right, well, that's very interesting. I did not know anything about those gnomes. Gnome-like is an adjective, and gnomish is also an adjective. And, we got to shout out the gnomes of the world. At the very least, we got gnomes that people put on their front lawns. They got tall red hats, and they're always being sneaky. And then there's some gnome movies that have been made. I think there was one called Romeo and Juliet, which I think I may have seen, and there was some other ones. And let's see, let's look up other gnomes in movies, because I think are there some gnomes in the Lord of the Rings, or are they similar? There are lots of creatures in Lord of the Rings. Oh, there's a gnome butt. Sherlock gnomes, yes, that's another one. Gnome Alone. That's a fun Netflix original about a teenager who discovers that her new home's talking garden gnomes must team up with her to save the world from bizarre monsters. Oh, very fun. There's a gnome named Norm. A gnome named Norm is from 1990. Well, anyway, you could go on a whole rabbit hole about gnome movies. And we don't have time to talk about them here because we have to move on to, it's another gnome word, it looks like. We have the word gnomic. Adjective from 1815. Number one, characterized by aphorism, as in gnomic utterances. So these are utterances that are characterized by an aphorism. You got some sort of aphorism when you're talking. I don't know if I have an aphorism when I'm uttering things out of my mouth hole. And but they could be described as gnomic for some reason because it's about aphorisms and maxims. Number two, given to the composition of gnomic writing, as in a gnomic poet. So maybe these gnomic writings would be about, maxims and aphorisms again. And, but maybe it's not about gnomes doing any writings. If a gnome were to write a poem, what would it say? Roses are red, violets are blue. I'm a gnome. Get out of my treasure. All right. Woo, 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 woo. Now, we got to move on over here to this other part of the page because we got some funky things going on in the next episode. But we moving up here, over here, all the way up here. Got to adjust the glasses so I can see a little bit better. We have the word gnomon. Gnomon or gnomon. Gnomon. It is a noun from 1546. Number one, an object that by the position or length of its shadow serves as an indicator, especially of the hour of the day. Very interesting. It has to do with the shadow of a thing, and we have some sub-definitions. We got number 1A, the pin of a sundial would be called a gnomon because it's an object that by the position or length of its shadow serves as an indicator, especially of the hour of the day. And so, yeah, that's the whole point of the sundial, that there's a thing in the middle that creates a shadow when the sun is beaming down right on it. And based on that, you could say, oh, well, the shadow is over in that direction and it's about that long. And that makes me think that it's morning time. So it's somewhere between 8 and 12. So the thing on the sundial is called the gnomon. And we also got 1B. This is a column or shaft erected perpendicular to the horizon. And again, the whole point of this thing, this shaft that has been erected, is for the sun to hit it, and then it creates a shadow. And then you're like, oh, look at the time. Look at the time. It's time to go. It's time to go de-erect the shaft. All right, and then we go to number 2. It is the remainder of a parallelogram after the removal of a similar parallelogram containing one of its corners. Well, we have a picture for this one. We have a picture because I said I don't understand at all. Can you please draw me a picture of what this parallelogram gnomon situation is? And they said, yes, of course. Here you go, BB Bud is here. We'll draw you a little picture. So there's a parallelogram. It goes, we got C in the upper left corner. We got D in the upper right corner. We got, what letter is that? Is that a G or a D? It's probably a D. That's in the bottom right. Then we got B in the lower left. And then, so that's the parallelogram. There's two lines kind of going up at maybe, 60 degrees. They're parallel to each other. And then the top and the bottom lines, they're going just right across the horizon there. Those are parallel to each other. And so, but then we got a little bit more. We got a couple more lines that are created across this parallelogram. We got a G, and that line is going up the same angle as the first angled ones, but it's a little bit inside. It's a little bit inside of this parallelogram, and it goes all the way up to the top line. And then we got another line that's going left to right across the horizon, and that one is E. Looks like E. E is on the far right, G is on the bottom, and where they cross inside of the parallelogram, they labeled that as F. So this is a B, C, D, E, F, G gnomon. A B, C, D. Oh no, that's a D. That's a. I don't. What letter is that? I can't even tell. It looks like an O. My eyes are so poor these days. It's not an A. We got A. No A. B, C, D, E, F, G. What letter is that? It looks like an O. So this is a B, C, D, E, F, G gnomon parallelogram. It's the remainder of a parallelogram after the removal of a similar parallelogram. So I believe what they have done is that they've taken the lower left parallelogram out. It says OGFE. That parallelogram is out of the picture forever. We got rid of it. We throw it in the trash. And then we have an L-shaped remainder, and that is also called a gnomon. What is this in the math world? Why are we using this term for this? Is it related to the erected shaft, or is it something new? Well, maybe we got to look at the etymology. What is the etymology? Have to say, it's Latin. From Greek gnomon, which means interpreter, or also it means pointer on a sundial. That's what it is. That's the whole story right there. I don't understand the parallelogram situation whatsoever, but some of you people who got far enough in math, you said, oh yes, I know of course what a gnomon is. It's when you take one parallelogram out of another parallelogram and it's what's remaining. Okay, what do we got next? We got gnosis, Gnosis, noun from 1703. It is esoteric knowledge of spiritual truth held by the ancient Gnostics to be essential to salvation. Gnosis, it's the knowledge the esoteric knowledge of the spiritual truth. And who is thinking this? Who is thinking about talking about these truths? It's the ancient Gnostics, and we'll talk about them in a minute. This word is from the Greek gnosis, which literally means knowledge. And what did we have before? There was something about the word know. Here it is, gnome, a maxim, an aphorism, comes also from the Greek to know. So, it's all related. Let's talk about this one. We've got Gnostic. Gnostic. It is a noun which is often capitalized from circa 1587. It is an adherent of Gnosticism. And maybe they're always thinking and talking about the gnosis. Gnostic is an adjective often capitalized, and of course, this is all still from the Greek words, which means to know and knowledge and all of those sorts of things. So, what are they doing? What are the Gnostics doing? They're adherents of... Am I talking to a baby? There's no babies here. Gnosticism. This is a noun often capitalized from 1664. It is the thought and practice, especially of various cults of late pre-Christian and early Christian centuries, distinguished by the conviction that matter is evil and that emancipation comes through gnosis. And what is gnosis again? Let's remind ourselves. Let's tell everybody again what gnosis is. It's the esoteric knowledge of spiritual truth held by the ancient Gnostics to be essential to salvation. They want salvation. They say that they got to understand all of these truths and knowledge. And so what are they doing? What is the Gnosticism? The thought and practice, especially of various cults, blah, 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 blah. They have the conviction that matter is evil. Why is matter evil? And that emancipation comes through gnosis. So freedom, emancipation is all about freedom. Freedom from matter. And how do you get this freedom from matter? Well, that's from the gnosis. You learn about the gnosis, you say, oh, now I'm free of this physical three-dimensional world where we all filled with matter, and then we can go be free and fly around as our spiritual souls. Is that what they're saying? We should probably put a link in the show notes. I'll tell Spencer to do that for Gnosticism and all of those things. Very fascinating stuff. Now we have notobiotic. Notobiotic, this is an adjective from 1949. It is of relating to living in or being a controlled environment containing one or a few kinds of organisms. We also have the synonym axenic or axenic, probably axenic. What does that even mean? So this is a controlled environment that has one organism or maybe just a few types of organism. And it's all connected to all those things, so it's notobiotic. Notobiotically is an adverb, and we should probably figure out what does this word mean? Why are we putting these two words together? This is from the Greek notos, which means known. It is known when you have the knowledge, you know a thing, that thing is now known. And then also from a biot or bioti, which means life or way of life. And so it's knowing a life. It's all putting those things together. They put it all together and they say, we put these things into a controlled environment so we can learn about it and know about it. And then we call that thing a notobiotic because we're learning about the thing. What could you say? Could you possibly say, if you wanted to, what sort of things would be notobiotic? Would like an aquarium be notobiotic? It seems like it's someplace where you're studying a thing inside this controlled environment because you say, I want the air to be a certain temperature. I want them to have a certain type of food and water and other sorts of things. And examples, we have germ-free. There's defined microbes. They're doing research. They're doing all sorts of things in these notobiotic places. All right, what else do we got? We got the boo. We have GNP, all caps, abbreviation for gross national product. Yep, that national product is very gross. How much money and stuff is a country making? You call that the GNP. Next, we have GNRH. GNRH. All caps except for the tiny little n. This is an abbreviation for gonadotropin releasing hormone. Gonadotropin releasing hormone. And we shall go on to one more word, one more entry for this episode. It's the word new, or also new, spelled GNU. It's our very last GN word. So very sad. It is a noun from 1771. The synonym is wildebeest. And you would think that wildebeest would be spelled B-E-A-S-T, because we think of beasts of burden, animals, sometimes we call them beasts, but it's spelled with the double E. And this word, because you say you got the word wildebeest over here and you got the word new over there, why are they the same thing? That is because this word is from a very specific language, and it's their word, and it looks like it's T''GNU. And the language is spelled Khoi, Khoi. Oh, it's the same letters 2 times. Koi. I don't know exactly how to pronounce that, and I am so very sorry if I pronounced both your language wrong and also your word, which I never said, which maybe is tnu. I'm not sure, so very apologetic about that. But it's their word, so maybe they got wildebeests all over the place, and then we say, well, we prefer the wildebeest because they're a wild beast. And we can also maybe use the word new sometimes, if we so choose. Okay, I think it is definitely time to pick a word of the episode. Today we had gneiss, GNMA, gnocchi, gnome, gnomic, gnomen, gnosis, gnostic, Gnosticism, notobiotic, GNP, GNRH, and new. Well, I think that we got some... Oh, maybe I should just pick gnocchi as the word of the episode. Give me some gnocchi. I want some gnocchi. Put it on a plate. Give me the plate. Give me a fork and maybe a spoon. Probably not a knife. I'm going to eat your gnocchi. Give me some gnocchi. It looks like a knuckle and it's a dumpling. What's inside of the gnocchi? I don't know. I gotta eat it to find out what's in the gnocchi. But I don't care because it's dough and I like dough. And I also like sauces. Gnocchi is the word of the episode. Hey, everybody, I hope you had a good time over here checking out this podcast called The Dictionary. If you are enjoying it, especially with me on it, then maybe you should go ahead and send some messages and say, you know what, you should bring BB Butters back more often. You got to pay BB Butters some money, but that's okay. Somebody's got to pay BB Butters. Who's going to pay BB Butters? I'm going to get paid no matter what. Somehow, I'll find it. Okay, that's going to be it for this episode. Thank you so much for checking it out. Until next time, this is BB Butters talking at you about some words. Goodbye.